in India, how many days you are there. If it is equal to or more than 182 days, you are called as resident. Preceding means you are not supposed to consider last year. Excluding last year, you go back your 10 years. If you want to become resident and ordinarily resident, you must fulfill any one of the basic condition. Hello everyone, I am your ALsir, lecturer in Vidhyaashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence. So, we are in the session 2 of your topic called Income Tax 1. In the previous session, we understood what do you mean by assessee, assessment year, previous year, person, and your assessment year as well as previous year. Along with that, you also learned what is person. So what is the difference between assessee as well as person, and what are the exempted items or exempted incomes, and what do you mean by agricultural income, which are the things comes under agricultural income, and which are exempt from agricultural income as well as which are taxable under agriculture income. Everything we learned in your previous session. Those are fundas or basics. You can expect 5 marks theory question on those. Now, in today's session, we'll go with your residential status. Very important. In your examination, you may get 15 marks or 10 marks. Your examination question will be for 15 or 10 marks. Very important. So, in today's class, we will discuss what do you mean by residential status. Then, basic conditions, additional conditions, determination of residential status. So, what do you mean by conditions? Each and everything we will discuss in today's session. Out of this, first we'll go for residential status. Now, so there is a small chart to understand what is residential status. Now, so residential status, before you're paying tax, we should see whether you're Indian or foreigner. Even though you're foreigner, you're supposed to pay tax or not. For some example, if your parents working in abroad, so every 6 months he comes, whether he should pay tax in abroad or he should pay tax in India. Or else, one of your cousin or friend, he is in abroad. Now, whatever income he earns, he need to pay tax in there itself, or else he need to pay tax in India also. For each and everything, we have so much confusions. We are in bias. Now, for that confusion and bias, we have a solution called residential status. In this chapter, you will understand better. So, where he should pay tax and what is the tax rate, everything you will understand better. Now, for example, usually we watch IPL or World Cup. Now, if foreigner comes to India, now we'll take example of Chris Gale. Now, he is playing IPL in India, example. Now, he is playing IPL in India. In his match, he scored 100. Now, he got man of the match around 1 lakh rupees. Now, in this, whether Chris Gale should pay tax in India or else he should pay tax in West Indies. Whatever 1 lakh he earned in India, he has to pay in India tax, or else he is supposed to pay tax in abroad like West Indies. For everything, you will get solution in this topic. Now, residential status. So, resident, non-resident. Now, I'll explain you what is resident, what is non-resident. If he is a foreigner, we call it as non-resident. Even though he is an Indian, now it comes under resident with these two subtopics. Now, resident and ordinarily resident, resident not ordinarily resident. So when we come for resident not ordinarily resident, for example, I have a business in USA. So 3 months I will be in USA, 3 months I will be in India. Now again next 3 months I will go to China. Now, so I belongs to India, China or USA. Now the question will arise in these cases. The solution for these things you have in this topic. Now, so if you are non-resident, there itself cut. If you are resident, again you have two options, like you are ordinarily resident or not ordinarily resident. Remember, never call it as ordinary. It is not ordinary. It is ordinarily resident, or you are not ordinarily resident. We will understand in the coming slides. So, residential status. Before we go for condition, rules and regulation, we will understand what do you mean by residential status. Now, the term residential status has been coined under the income tax laws of India. So whatever the name called, the residential status, which is framed by whom? Income tax. Now, and must not be confused with an individual's citizenship. Now, so normally if foreigners comes, he wins some income, he says that I am not belongs to India, I will not pay tax. For those kind of people, we have certain rules and regulations. Now, in India, an individual may be a citizen of India, but may end up being non-resident for a particular year. So, I am born and brought up in India only. For next 2 to 3 years, I go to some Japan or somewhere. So, even though being an Indian, I will become non-resident in certain cases. Why? Because even though I am Indian, but I am not in India. I am not earning income in India. I am earning income where? Abroad. So, then in certain cases, I will be called as non-resident. I'll give you an example of Chris Gayle. Whatever income, man of the match award he won, so whether he has to pay tax in India or West Indies. So this will be homework. It is not homework, it is a session work. Means once I done with this session, you should only say me that whether Chris Gayle has to pay tax in India or he has to pay tax in abroad. Now, so this is all about your meaning of your residential status. Now, basic conditions. So, as I told you, I showed you the chart like resident, non-resident. If he is a resident, whether he is a ordinarily or not ordinarily. How to calculate these things? With the help of basic conditions and additional conditions. Now, so what are the basic conditions he should fulfill? First thing, he is in India in the previous year for a period of 182 days or more. If, for example, how many days are there in year? We have 365 or 366 days. Now, if I am in India for more than 182 days or equal to 182 days, I am called as resident. Clear? Example. So, first 50 days I was in India. Next, I went to Japan. Again, I came back. Again, another 50 days I was in India. Again, I went to some USA. Again, I came back and I stayed in India for 90 days. Total, how many days I was in India? So, 90 plus 50, 140 plus 50, total 192 days you were in India. So, when we should calculate these days, remember, 1st April to 31st March. For example, 1st April 2022, 31st March 2021. In between, how many days you were in India? It is not that continuous 182 days you should be in India. In between, you can go to abroad for 10 days, you can come back. All put together in India, how many days you were there? If it is equal to or more than 182 days, you are called as resident. Clear? Yes. Now, this is condition number 1. For example, you fail to fulfill this condition. You have one more option. What is that option? Now, he has been in India for at least 365 days during the previous year, preceding previous year, and he is in India for at least 60 days during the previous year. So this will be your second condition. So what is this second condition? Now, as per the first condition, you should be there for 182 days or more than 182 days. For example, you did not fulfill this. So you are not there in India for 182 days. Then, is there any one more option? Yes, there is one more option. Like, he has been in India for at least 365 days during previous, this is remember, 4 years. So, now, I'll give you example, you will understand better. If you read this, you will not understand. I'll give you example. Now, so, 2020 and 2021. So this will be 1st April to 31st March. Clear? So you understood what is assessment year, what is previous year. Out of this, what is your previous year? Previous year will be your 2020 to 2021, that we call it as previous year. Now, 1st April to 31st March of 2021. Now, how many days you must be there? You must be there for 182 days or plus. Now, your condition 1 is done. So, you were not there for 182 days. So, we will go for what? Option number 2, condition number 2. What is condition number 2? In the previous year, they are not asking you 182 days. They are asking you how much? Only 60 days. We don't want 182 days. So, if you are there for 182 or more, you are called as resident. But you are not there for 182 days. You are there for less than 182 days. Then, don't go for condition number 1. Come to condition number 2. If your number of days is less than 182, don't consider condition 1. Come to condition number 2. Clear? Yes. In condition 2, what they are saying means you should be there in India. You should be there in India. In your previous year, we are not asking you 182 days. You be there only for 60 days. How many days they are asking? Only 60 days. But along with this, this is, we are talking about what? 2020 and 2021. Along with this, 2019 and 20, 2018 and 19, 2017 and 18, 2016 and 17. How many years? 4 years, excluding your previous year. We are not talking about previous year. Means you should be there for only 60 days or more. Along with that, you should be there for 365 days for in 4 years. They are asking in the previous year minimum 60 days and previous 4 years you should be there for 365 days. Last year you should be there minimum 60. Before last year, I'll give you 4 years time. Out of 4 years, the total is 365 days or more. You are called as resident. Clear? So, there are only 2 conditions. First condition is very simple. Just take an example of mine. First condition, I should be there in India minimum 182 days out of 1 year. So 182 or more. So my number of days is 190 as per this example. I am resident. I will not go for second condition. Why? Because I fulfilled first condition. Clear? Yes. Example number 2. So I was not there for 90. I was there only for how many days? 100 days. 100 means what? Less than 182. Then I will go for condition number 2. Now, what condition number 2 is saying? Last year, like what we discussed, instead of 182 days, we are not asking 182. We are asking only 60 days. Are you there for 60 days? The answer is yes. I was there for 100 days, more than 60. Good. What is the additional condition for this? Along with 60 days, go back your 4 years back. Out of 4 years, were you there for 365 or more? If I am in India, the answer is yes. I was there for 100 days in the last year, means I fulfilled more than 60 days. Along with that, I was there 365 days for your previous 4 years. I filled both means I'm done with this condition number 2. Clear? Yes. Both are not compulsory. Out of these two, any one has to be completed. If first one you are not completed means, then only you can go for second one. First condition only you completed means this is not required. Okay. Only the first option you have not fulfilled, then only will give second option. Clear? Yes. This is all about your basic condition. If you want to take screenshot, please take. Now we'll go for additional conditions. So these are the additional condition. If you have fulfilled any one of the basic condition, then we'll come for additional condition. If you did not fulfill any of your basic condition, we will not go for additional condition. Now, additional condition number 1 and number 2. The additional condition you will not understand better now. While doing problems, you will understand better. Now, he has been resident in India at least 2 out of 10 previous years preceding the relevant previous year. Preceding means you are not supposed to consider last year. Excluding last year, you go back your 10 years. Like your previous year is 2020 and 2021. Example I am giving. Now 2020 and 21, if your previous year means, you should not consider this. You go back 10 years. Other than this, like 19 and 20, 18 and 19, those we consider as previous year. Out of those 10 years, you must be resident for how many years? You must be resident for 2 years. Out of 10, you must be resident for 2 years. If you are resident for 2 years, you are called as resident. Clear? Your condition is fulfilled. Now we'll go for second one. He should have been in India for at least 730 days in all during the 7 previous years preceding the relevant previous year. Same thing. We will not consider 2020 and 21. Preceding means we will go back 7 years. Out of 7 years, how many days you should be there? So, you should be 730 days. So, out of 7 years, so 365 into 7, you will get around how much? Around you will get 3000 some odd years, 2800 some odd years, some odd days. Out of that, how much they are asking only? They are asking 730 days you should be in India. So condition number 1, out of 10 years, you must be resident for 2 years. Out of 7 years, you must be there for 730 days. Clear? Just you remember the numbers, the calculation and all will understand while doing problem. So these two are additional condition. A small recap of your basic as well as additional. So you have to say along with me. You also recall once. How many basic conditions you have? 2. How many additional conditions you have? 2. Additional conditions will come later. First we'll go for basic conditions. What is the first thing? Simple. You must be there in India for 182 days or more. If you fulfilled, will not go for second condition. If you have failed to fulfill this, then forget about condition number 1, we'll go to condition number 2. What is the condition number 2? In the previous year, instead of 182 days, you must be there for 60 days. So, along with that, you should be there for 365 days in the preceding previous year. Like out of 4 years, you must be there for 365 days. If you completed these two, then your condition number 2 is fulfilled. Clear? Yes. Your basic conditions are done. Now we'll come for additional conditions. How many conditions we have? 2. Very simple. Don't consider your previous year. Go back of your previous year. Out of 10 years, you have to be resident for 2 years. Clear? Yes. Second additional condition. Simple. Again, forget about your previous year. Go back preceding previous. Preceding means what? This is your previous year, means before your previous year. Now, so in the preceding previous year, out of 7 years, you must be there how many days? 730 days. 730 days you must be resident. Clear? Yes. This is all about your additional condition. Don't worry if you didn't understand. Just you have to remember the days 182, 60, 365, yeah, 730 days, and out of 10 years, 2 years. These numbers you remember. While doing problem, I explained you once again what are these conditions. Now, you learned what is basic residential status. What do you mean by basic condition? What do you mean by additional condition? Now, everything is done. How it will apply. So, how to implement this condition, we will understand now. In this, determinants. Determinants means how do you implement these things. Now, resident and ordinarily resident. I'll go back to your previous slides. So, resident and ordinarily resident. So, these two. So we are talking about these two, resident and ordinarily resident. If you want to become resident or ordinarily resident, what you should do? Now, so resident and ordinarily resident, it satisfies any one basic condition and 2 additional condition. So out of, there are basic, how many conditions are there? In the basic, we have condition number 1, condition number 2. In the additional condition, we have condition number 1, condition number 2. So, if you want to become resident and ordinarily resident, you must fulfill any one of the basic condition. It may be this one or it may be this one. Any one you have to complete it. Then, so for example, first one you completed, then along with this, you have to complete these 2. Clear? Yes. For example, first one you did not complete, you completed second one. Along with second one, you should complete these 2. If you want to become a resident and ordinarily resident, then remember, you have to fulfill any one of basic condition, all 2 of additional condition. One from basic, 2 from additional. Then you will become resident and ordinarily resident. Clear? We all are considered as resident and ordinarily resident. Why? Because in India we spend more days. Now, this is done. Now, if you want to become resident but ordinarily resident but not ordinarily resident. Normally the foreigners comes under this category. Now, if satisfy any one basic condition and does not satisfy two additional conditions. Now, out of these two, any one you completed, but out of these two, any one or both you did not complete, then you will become resident but not ordinarily resident. Clear? Now, I'll go back to your this thing. Now, resident and ordinarily resident. What is a condition? Simple. Any one from basic condition, two from additional condition. Any doubt? No doubt. Now, resident but not ordinarily resident. How to do this? Any one from basic condition, 0 from additional condition. Clear? Very simple to understand. If you fulfilled any one of the basic condition, you fulfilled both the additional condition, you will become resident or else ordinarily resident. You fulfilled one basic condition and you did not fulfill any of the additional condition, you will become not ordinarily resident. Clear? Very simple. Now, you did not fulfill your basic conditions, 0. Additional condition we will not go only because your basic condition itself 0. You will become non-resident. Clear? Now you understood who is non-resident? This one. Who is resident? This one. Who is resident with ordinary? This one. Who is non-resident? This one. Clear? Yes. And one more thing I'll tell you, easy to understand. Now, anything which is received in India, again I'll repeat, anything which is received in India, it should be taxable for resident as well as non-resident. If you have received money in India, even though you are resident, even though you are non-resident, you have to pay tax. Clear? Even though you are foreigner, just for one day you came to India, you earned 1 lakh rupees as any gift or prize. That 1 lakh you received where? In foreign or India? India. You have to pay tax for that 1 lakh because you earned in India. Clear? Yes. Please take screenshot of this. With this picture you will understand better. So these are the determinants we discussed. So what is the working in this? Working is very simple. I already showed you. If you want to become resident or ordinarily resident, so what you should do? You should complete basic condition 1, additional condition 2. 1 basic condition and 2 additional conditions. Then, if you want to become not ordinarily resident, what is the procedure? Very simple. So, basic condition 1, additional conditions 0. What is the last one? Non-resident. So simple. Basic conditions 0. Additional condition will not come only. So this is all about your calculation. Please take a screenshot. This is nothing but your complete what we discussed in today's session. So this is for the first one, second one. So this is all about your today's session. In the next session, we are doing problems on this. So we will get 10 marks problem or else 5 marks problem on your residential status. Very simple. The problems are very small. According to whatever we discussed today, on the basis of that, we will work out problems. Now, these are easy if you understood the concept. So again, go back to each slides, understand what is basic condition and what is additional condition. Forget about the numbers and all. Just remember the numbers. The implementation part you will learn at the time of problems. Thank you.